Hi, it's Anna Schaefer, and welcome to the All of This Q&A. It's a Friday when you're watching this, so congratulations on making it to the weekend. I have not made it to the weekend yet because it's Wednesday night and it's about to be midnight, and I'm really tired and my coffee wore off. So if any of this video is a little weird or doesn't make a lot of sense or anything, we'll just blame it on those factors. So tonight I want to answer some questions that I've been asked ever since I started writing this book, and then some questions that I've been asked more recently when I opened the floor earlier this week to see if anyone had anything they were curious about or wanted to know. So the very first question is, what is all of this about? Fair enough. So right now I want to read the back cover of the book. It's like the world premiere of the synopsis. I haven't really put it out there before. So I'm going to read it, and this is the exact same thing you'll be able to read when you're holding the actual print copy or ebook in your hands. So here we go. Sadie Franklin is all about independence, but when one of her popular parties gets too crazy, her usually uninvolved dad sends her across the country to spend the summer with relatives. Living in small-town Pecan Creek, Georgia is culture shock for a girl from Seattle, and it doesn't help that Sadie's aunt and uncle are total church people. Sunday school? No thanks. At a house full of little cousins, an accidental friendship with the preacher's daughter of all people, and the attention of a guy who might actually understand her murky past, and it's enough to cue an identity crisis. When life-altering news rocks Sadie's world and reveals messy family secrets, she's forced to face the God she's avoided since her mom's death 8 years ago. Sadie is surrounded by people who say God loves her and has great plans for her life. But if God is really good, why does he sit back and watch Sadie's life unravel? Could there really be a purpose in all of this? So there you go. That's what the story is about. And with that in mind, we will answer some questions. The first question is, where did you get the idea for the story? A few years ago, I was listening to the song Down by Matt Carney, and the second verse is talking about a girl who is 16, and some of the lyrics are, it was Monday night under the street lights, she's turning 17 in 7 nights, out on the fairgrounds, walking in monotone, she kicks a bottle as empty as her soul. And I heard that and it resonated with me for some reason, and I thought, if this is a real girl, what is her story? You know she has a story, she has a past. Something has brought her to this place where she's feeling empty. And so I kept thinking about that. I kept listening to the song over and over again until this tiny seed of a story started to grow. And that's where Sadie's story was born. It has nothing to do with the song. Sadie's life is nothing like the girls in the song, except she's 16 and she wonders if there could really be purpose. She's feeling empty and hard things like that. But it's completely different, but that's where the idea came from. That's what really got it growing in my head. So the next question is, let's see, how much of this happened in real life? This is fiction, which means it's made up, which means none of it is real. It's all from my head. Some smaller scenes are inspired by real life, just random little moments, little quippy things people say. One scene that is inspired by real life, for example, is my sister tried to teach me how to drive a stick shift car a couple years ago, and I really, somehow it got made into a video and then it got put on the internet and a lot of people watched it. And so I really wanted to recreate how crazy hard it is, and it worked its way into a scene, and this context is different, but this is just an example of some inspiration that I took from real life. But overall, yeah, the story, it's made up. None of it really happened. It's a story. The next question is, I don't actually know. Where are you? Oh, okay, here we go. What is a character trait of Sadie's that is most different from yours? Sadie is very guarded and doesn't like to reveal a lot about herself, doesn't really like to tell people about who she is because of her past and what she's been through, and who could blame her? It's completely understandable. She has a reputation. She's made some mistakes. She got kicked out of her home to spend the summer somewhere else, and her dad told her to get it together. So it makes sense, but the last thing she would ever do would be to write a blog about her life and put it on the internet like I do. I'm a little bit more open about my journey than she would be. She's also a little more outspoken at the same time, and blunt, and tell it like it is, and if she has something to say, she's gonna say it. I do that too, but to a lesser extent. We both do have this issue where our filter kicks in right after we say something, and we're like, ooh, that probably wasn't the best idea, or I probably could have been a little more kind or a little more normal when I said that. So that's something we have in common. And she also is athletic, and I'm not. So there's that. Let's see. The next question is, what's one part of the story you wish you could live? Well, the part I would most like to live is a really, really, really sweet part, but I can't tell you about it because that would spoil the whole story because it happens near the end. But yeah, some things that I really would think it'd be cool to live would just be to get to know some of the people Sadie gets to know. Even the people she's frustrated with or annoyed by. Just there's some wacky people in her world. Some real characters. No pun intended. Because it's midnight and I'm tired. But yeah, just it's a really interesting cast, I think. Really diverse characters who have different personalities, and I just think it'd be kind of fun to hang around them for a while. And then we have, oh yep, is it a love story? I didn't mean to say that really creepy, but my friend and I were actually talking about this like last week. In regards to the project I'm working on now, she asked if it was a love story, and then we started talking about all of this. Technically, no, it's not marketed as a romance or a love story, but there may or may not be a good-looking boy, and he may or may not be in several key scenes of the book. I can neither confirm nor deny that. You will just have to read the book. But technically, it's not a love story. But we'll see. The next question is, let's see, I don't actually know. Oh, what is Sadie's favorite color? It's really weird because I was trying to think of this the other day and couldn't remember. And then someone actually asked me this question. The answer is I don't know. I think she does have one. I think it was in a scene, mentioned in a scene in the book that got cut and is now an outtake because I couldn't find it. I can make a guess. I think it's green, but I don't remember. And it's not like I can just make up something for her. She wouldn't appreciate me just making up stuff about her life. But I can tell you that her least favorite color is pink. Like, don't give the girl anything pink. She does not like pink. Alright, then we're moving into one that asks, I have to read it so I get it right. It's basically talking, I'm going to try to summarize it, but it's a really good question. It's talking about how if I think that Christian fiction and inspirational Christian work can have an impact on the world. And yeah, my platform is stories sharing truth. I think about Jesus and how Jesus told parables. He told stories that pointed to the truth about who God is and who God wants to be in your life. And I think that, yeah, definitely stories can have a big impact. I write contemporary, I write about stories that could actually happen right here, right now. But the question also kind of asks about things like fantasy or science fiction or dystopian or anything like that. And I think the key is if the story, whatever it's about, glorifies God. It doesn't have to be necessarily a Christian story. It doesn't have to directly share the gospel. But I always do this little test with my writing when I start something new. I say, okay, if I were sitting in a room in front of God himself, would I be able to read the story out loud and then say, this is for you. This is my very best. This is a gift. This is an offering to glorify who you are and what you're doing. And if I can do that, then yeah. But if I can't say that, if I couldn't do that, then I'm misusing my gift and I'm not doing what I'm called to do in terms of doing everything for the Lord and living faithfully for him. And so, we write about messy stuff, gritty stuff, rough stuff. Sadie's life is not easy. Sadie has a history, and Sadie's been through some really hard things, and there are mistakes and there are problems and complications, but I think it's the way that they are presented. If they give glory, if the story as a whole makes someone see God in a different way and maybe see some truths that they haven't seen before, then it doesn't matter if your story has 16-year-old girls in Georgia or dragons or robots or whatever else it is. Then if it's doing that, then yeah, it can definitely have an impact. Very last question says, when does the sequel come out? My grandma asked me this question, so shout out to Grandma. It's because she read all of this like a year and a half ago, and I guess she's ready for some new material. I cannot tell you when the sequel comes out because I do not know, but I can tell you that I am working slowly on another project, so stay tuned for updates. Speaking of updates, you can visit www.annaschaefer.wordpress.com is my blog, and there are links to my Facebook page and my Instagram and my Twitter and videos and all other content that you can see to stay updated. So stay tuned, and I'll see you later.